in Indonesia, we take a look at the Ciliwung River after 7 months of cleanup efforts. Also in Indonesia, in light of the military plane crash in Medan, Tzu Chi volunteers offered their loving care to the victims' family members. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee. Thank you for joining us. We began today's program in Indonesia. The Ciliwung River is notorious for being one of the most heavily polluted rivers in the world. Earlier this year, the Tzu Chi Indonesia chapter joined hands with the Indonesian Army to clean up the river, while raising awareness among residents of the need to preserve the environment. After 7 months of cleanup effort, the results have been promising. This is what Ciliwung River looked like 7 months ago. 7 months of a joint effort between the Tzu Chi Indonesia chapter and the National Army to clean up the river have had a positive impact.
Over the course of 7 months, the river has become much cleaner, and the riverbeds are no longer cluttered with rubbish. You can even see grass growing next to the river.
The Ciliwung River is the longest river which runs through Jakarta. Unfortunately, however, it is also heavily polluted as residents discard their litter carelessly into the river, which contributes to the city's annual flood problem.
We want to raise awareness of the need to maintain a clean environment and river, and also let residents know that they cannot dump their trash into the river. So we handed out rubbish bins for them to throw their litter in.
To ensure real action is taken to preserve the environment, Tzu Chi volunteers distributed 4,000 trash cans to residents living by the river. As the day of the event also happened to coincide with the Islamic festival of Ramadan, volunteers also prepared iftar meals for residents to enjoy. In the United States, days of heavy rain in mid-June ravaged Ohio. Tzu Chi volunteers of the Columbus Liaison Office teamed up with the local Red Cross to hold a distribution in Logan County, handing out cash cards and blankets to those affected by the floods. As the flood situation was particularly severe in Ohio, Tzu Chi volunteers from the Columbus Liaison Office obtained a name list of flood victims from the local Red Cross and carried out a joint distribution in Logan County.
We are motivated to bring comfort and hope to people in times of dire need, and I know they are too, and so when we all pitch in together and work together, we can turn it around.
Volunteers took time to speak with residents one-on-one to understand their needs and also performed a sign language song to settle their hearts. Thereafter, Tzu Chi volunteers distributed blankets and cash cards to the flood victims.
Not only just come and give us things that we've lost in this disaster, but to give us things that we've lost in here. Thank you.
Before parting with residents, volunteers also handed out bamboo coin banks in the hopes that one day these residents will pay this love forward to others in need. Food shortage remains an ongoing crisis in Haiti. From June 24th to the 25th, U.S. Tzu Chi volunteers conducted their 50th rice distribution in Haiti's Cité Soleil, where a total of 1,823 households each received a 20-kilogram bag of rice.
To ensure that the rice distribution does not disrupt the students' classes, local police arrived to maintain order and security, while volunteers help guide residents to the waiting line.
Thank you, Tzu Chi, for giving me this opportunity. Being able to distribute rice to my neighbors made me feel proud. I was very moved to see them smile.
This local priest does everything in his power to ensure these children have access to education. Teachers here also know that the majority of students come from impoverished families.
Thank you, Taiwan, for the rice. The residents here are very poor and they're in great need of help.
The distribution this time around aims to help impoverished families in Cité Soleil. A total of 1,823 households each received a 20-kilogram bag of rice that will hopefully feed them for the next 2 to 3 months. At the end of the distribution, a local priest and volunteers shared the spirit and ideals of Tzu Chi's bamboo bank era with local residents as they hope everyone will be inspired to practice daily acts of kindness. Volunteers also reminded residents that any kind deed, no matter how small, has the power to make a difference.
We have more reports on Haiti. At a school in Cité Soleil's La Saline district, U.S. Tzu Chi volunteers handed out 4,300 more bags of rice with the help of local volunteers and law enforcement agencies. In Haiti, after 2 consecutive rice distributions, Tzu Chi volunteers delivered 4,300 bags of rice into the hands of hungry residents. Though sweating, their hearts are full of joy.
I must thank Master Zheng Yan and Tzu Chi volunteers. After joining Tzu Chi, I have learned to cultivate myself.
Students from a school in Cité Soleil's La Saline district came to pick up rice on their parents' behalf once the school was over, while a representative from Taiwan's embassy told them that the rice being handed over by Tzu Chi volunteers came from Taiwan.
All of us volunteers from the United States and the local volunteers have worked hand in hand very, very hard through this past week, and we've definitely touched a lot of hearts.
Volunteers also remembered to pick up any trash they see, which inspired local volunteers to follow suit as well. As Tzu Chi begins to shift its medical attention to more medically deprived areas in Vietnam, volunteers from the Ho Chi Minh City recently held a free clinic in Bien Dong province. Here in Vietnam, 140 volunteers from Ho Chi Minh City set off at 4:30 in the morning to head towards Bien Dong province to host a free clinic. Soon they arrive at the free clinic site, which is a high school. Knowing that there is an opportunity to see a doctor for free, many nearby residents showed up early.
The volunteers are very friendly. Whenever I need to go somewhere, someone would be there to help me. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to move about.
The medical team also brought a sonogram and an EKG machine this time. Due to the specialized medical equipment, the doctors were finally able to diagnose what was wrong with this 10-year-old girl.
After the doctors checked my daughter, they said she has congenital heart disease, so they will later schedule a surgery for her.
Besides the medical staff, there are plenty of young volunteers giving up their free time to help the less fortunate at the free clinic.
When I was helping other people, I came to realize that I'm very fortunate. I continue to think of ways that I can help them.
I am very glad that volunteers came from so far to help us.
The 3 medical departments serve more than 300 residents. Volunteers also handed out gifts, making sure local residents felt loved and cared for during the free clinic. An Indonesian military transport crashed into a neighborhood in Medan on June 30th, killing all 122 people on board and the 20 people on the ground. In the aftermath of the incident, Tzu Chi volunteers mobilized to lend a shoulder to the victims' family members. In the wake of the military plane crash on June 30th, the recovered bodies were brought to Adam Malik General Hospital in Medan, Indonesia for identification.
The kids just wanted to go home and see their parents. How could they have known the plane was going to crash?
My niece was going home to Natuna. Not long after I took her to the airport, I got the call that the plane had crashed. We can't predict when accidents are going to happen.
The military has sent the deceased to our hospital. We currently have enough space to hold everyone. A few are still in body bags, waiting to be identified. We will clean up these bodies before we put them in coffins.
Tzu Chi volunteers from Medan also mobilized to visit the bereaved family members at the hospital.
We came yesterday after the plane crash happened. We brought drinking water and bread for the victims' family members. We knew they were hurting, so we just let them be emotional while offering our comfort. We hope they can be strong in the days ahead.
As it is the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, Tzu Chi volunteers also provided food for iftar to help the family members to keep up their strength while dealing with the aftermath of the tragedy. In today's look at long-term care service for the disabled and elderly in Taiwan, we turn our attention to remote communities. Unlike their urban counterparts, caretakers in remote indigenous communities have a very low turnover rate as they deliver their service to the doorsteps of their clients.
Home care services for seniors are carried out with unusual passion in this indigenous community.
We started at 7 in the morning and we are on our 4th case of the day. This one is the closest as it is only 4 kilometers away from Tuban.
Looking after the disabled has never been easy in remote communities such as this one. Here, most elderly people don't even speak Mandarin, so it is best that caregivers come from the same tribe.
We must first communicate with him and let him know what we are going to do for him.
It is best that we Taiwan people take care of our own elderly, as they typically don't speak Mandarin. We can get through to them better.
These caregivers visit 6 to 7 families in a day, and all of them are of the Paiwan tribe. They share the same culture and language, and their singing comforts seniors suffering from dementia.
When he sings along, he gets more of an exercise.
Laboring away under the summer heat, the caretakers work up a sweat, but they remain devoted to their work as they see their clients as family members.
On weekends, when they have their days off, he will say they haven't been coming.
He will point to the direction that we come from, which means he is expecting us.
Caregivers in indigenous tribes basically never quit their posts because they get to stay within their tribe and serve the needy of their tribe. They know they are needed.
Be that as it may, there remain gaps in long-term care service between rural and urban areas. Care organizations are less well advanced, and the cost is higher in remote regions, while it remains difficult to reallocate the manpower and resources within cities to these regions.
There are now more and more seniors in our community, but the growth of long-term care service remains limited.
In remote communities, by bringing long-term care service to the doorstep of each client, can better meet their needs. But the recent change in regulations has led to concerns within the tribe.
We don't have money. Only my son's working. We just don't have extra money.
Sometimes people here can't even afford their monthly health insurance bill. If, once the new long-term care services bill is enacted, people can't afford the monthly dues, will we stop visiting? Then what will happen to the clients?
Thanks to these indigenous home care service providers, the elderly in indigenous tribes can live comfortably as they age. With these caregivers constantly looking for resources to continue their service, they have also managed to hold the tribes together and keep people from moving away. Nothing in this world compares to their sincerity and devotion. Besides quality care, most importantly, they deliver familiar warmth to their clients.
You may remember that on the evening of July 31st last year, a series of gas explosions occurred in Kaohsiung, Taiwan. Among those injured was former Deputy Commander of Tianjin Fire Department, Yu Tianyun, who sustained 2nd and 3rd degree burns to his face and arms. Knowing what the victims of the Body Water Park explosion must be going through, Yu extends his best wishes to them and urges them not to give up.
When I saw all those young people running for their lives, I remembered how I was also caught up in an explosion myself. It's very, very painful.
Speaking of the Bali Water Park explosion, former Fire Department Deputy Commander Yu Taiyun, who was caught up in the Kaohsiung gas blast last year, knows exactly what these victims are going through.
During the initial stages of my rehab, I didn't even dare to move my arms because the pain was so excruciating. It was as if someone had stabbed me over and over with a knife. When my wounds were exposed to air, the pain was exacerbated.
Even after a year of rehabilitation, Yu Taiyun still needs to wear a pressure garment. During the Kaohsiung gas blast, Yu sustained second to third degree burns to 12% of his body and was in a coma for 5 days.
When I was still in the hospital, many people came to visit me, and having them by my side really boosted my morale and gave me courage to fight this battle. Having my family and friends by my side at that time really helped with my recovery. So I want to tell these young people not to give up. They too can pull through this ordeal. They are the best.
Although the road to recovery is a long and arduous one, Yu firmly believes that with patience and perseverance, victims of the Bali water park explosion can also overcome their injuries.
Recently in the Philippines, Tzu Chi volunteers from the Manila area visited care recipients and potential care recipients to further understand how else they may help. Here in Valenzuela City in Metro Manila of the Philippines, stroke patient Francisco Sarona has been bedridden for a year. He relies on his sister and nearly 80-year-old mother to take care of him. I can't support him financially, but I can look after him and care for him. In fact, my husband suffered a stroke recently too. Tzu Chi volunteers are also visiting Erlinda Fausto, who is also a stroke victim. Upon seeing the caring volunteers, Fausto cries as if to express her pent-up emotions. She can't even move her hands. She needs to be fed. She can't see very well, so when she's being fed, she will think the spoon is far away from her. Although Ophelia Aguilar is taking care of Fausto for now, Aguilar herself is not well either, as she went through 6 months of chemotherapy for her breast cancer just last year. Looking to provide more support than just material goods, Tzu Chi volunteers continue to visit their care recipients regularly to understand the needs of each in the days ahead. In Taiwan, Tzu Chi volunteers have been caring for a 50-year-old single mother in Keelung who suffered from a spinal injury. Recently, volunteers helped her move into a second-floor apartment and even mobilized more than 30 volunteers to help clean the new place up.
50-year-old Mrs. Wang suffers from a spinal injury and has difficulty climbing stairs.
We worry about her spinal injury, which will worsen if she falls accidentally. So we have been looking for a new place for her, which we hope will have fewer stairs.
Tzu Chi volunteers found the ideal place for Mrs. Wang this month, and they even helped clean the place before she moved in.
This place might have been empty for a while, so it's quite dirty. She's injured and doesn't have the strength to clean it, so volunteers came to help her. It looks pretty new now.
On the day Wang moved into her new place, volunteers cooked sweet rice balls and sang for her.
There are fewer stairs here, so it'll be easier to get in and out of the house. Everyone is wishing you good luck, so be brave.
With a clean living environment and Tzu Chi volunteers' encouragement, Mrs. Wang and her son will be starting a new life with hope.
Next, we meet on-stage volunteer Yang Cui Li, who participated in the weekend's performance of the musical adaptation of the Water Repentance Sutra in Malaysia, and see how she came to learn about cause and effect through her participation.
Everything was going smoothly for 36-year-old Yang Cui Li, who works in the bank, when her diagnosis of skin cancer suddenly shattered her life.
是有点不甘心啦。
Terminal stage skin cancer treatment left a both-side scar on Yang after operations on her right thigh and stomach.
I am pleased that I took part in the sutra adaptation. I believe strongly in the sutra's opening verses that describe how samadhi water cleanses past sins.
In study groups, Yang learned about the story of Dharma Master Wu Da, who suffered from a human face spoil.
So
I calmed down, and when I lay on the surgical bed, I told myself to face the illness, as I could survive this ordeal if I repented sincerely.
Yang went through 33 electrotherapies that left her pelvis scorched, but she kept repenting for her past mistakes in accordance with the sutra teachings.
I like to eat meat, especially chicken legs. My colleagues used to joke about how I had a feud with chicken in my last life. Then my legs were cut open during the operations, so I repented and told myself I would adopt a vegetarian diet.
Yang insisted on going meatless, even during her electrotherapy treatment. After undergoing some skin grafts, she joined rehearsals, although she could not stand for long.
When you are passionate about something you do, you don't feel the pain. When the rehearsal ended, I felt the pain.
Having learned the sutra teachings, Yang is applying Buddhist principles to help her face life's obstacles and impermanence.
Summer vacation has begun for students here in Taiwan, and while many children head out having fun, a group of elementary school kids from Sansha are doing something more meaningful. Students of Sansha Elementary in New Taipei City celebrate the beginning of their summer vacation by cleaning up the shores of a local river.
In the beginning, they probably thought that the weather was hot, but in the end, they were really working hard to pick up the garbage. They have learned much in the process.
I saw a lot of garbage. We spent much time to clean up other people's carelessness. I really wish everyone would understand littering is a selfish behavior.
Originally, the shores of Sansha River were populated by egrets. However, humans have destroyed their natural habitats and disturbed the local ecosystem.
By the riverbed, we saw many cigarette butts and plastic bags. The environment has been polluted. I hope we can all practice conservation.
The earth belongs to all of us. We'll be living here for a while, so I hope that everyone can do their part for the environment and love the planet.
Through actual hands-on experience, the students learned that littering has a terrible effect, and thus in turn hope that change can begin with their generation. To help last year's flood victims from eastern Malaysian peninsula recover from losing their homes, Tzu Chi volunteers began to construct 22 DaAi homes on a property given by the government at the end of April. Recently, first 8 homes were completed. We will leave you with these images at the end of the program. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.